Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Zachary Dickinson here. Hope you all have had a wonderful time. Well, I have been away due to my keyboard, since it's detachable and they go out sometimes, went out and stopped working. So I can really use my computer and all to the fullest. There was also some technical issues going on with uploading a few videos. And it was not letting me upload videos. So internet keyboard technical issues aside, we're back. Monday's video will be today, which is Tuesday, recording it right now, and it'll pretty much be released almost instantaneously after I'm done. So sorry about that, but we have two videos coming out today because the Phase 4 combined video wasn't able to be released due to it not being able to be processed on YouTube last week. So it'll be released tonight. Phase 5 MCU Multiverse Saga Phase 5 shows is what we're doing right here, right now. And so that video will be first, I guess about 1 or so p.m. And so we have 8 shows that went from June of 2023 to early July of 2025, roughly just about 2 years exactly. And so I'll talk a little bit before we get on into them. So let's get into the video. All right, so let's do a somewhat of a preamble or discussion of some of these shows and how they relate to previous MCU content, or also whether or not they are just a new and unrelated project. So we have 8 different shows, 9 total seasons, all throughout this roughly 2 year, or just a little bit more than 2 year span, because the last show in Phase 5 of the Multiverse Saga of the MCU did end on July 1st of 2025. So we can basically round it up to right about 2 years. So we have 2 shows that came back for new seasons. We have Loki Season 2, and we also have What If Seasons 2 and 3. We also have 4 shows that were sequels or returns for characters that had previously appeared elsewhere for either their own show on a different content platform like Netflix, or just appeared in a different show or movie beforehand. We have Agatha previously being in WandaVision, is now back in her own show in Agatha All Along. We have Echo, who appeared and debuted in Hawkeye and had a major relationship with Kingpin that carried over into Echo. Then we have Ironheart debuting in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, the movie. And then our final thing, which is why I made the Netflix comment, was Matt Murdock appearing in Spider-Man No Way Home, Daredevil and Matt Murdock appearing in She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. And, of course, Matt Murdock, Daredevil, originally appearing, this iteration of them appearing, in the Marvel Netflix Daredevil show. So, of all those shows, 8 shows, 9 seasons, we have one show that came out without any relationship to any project, no characters appeared anywhere else, or that version of them. I'm talking about Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 1, which came out last year in spring of 2025, before Daredevil Born Again. And now we also have not one, but 2 shows for the first time. Well, not for the first time, but we have 2 shows that came out in this phase, which are already either premiering or coming out soon with a new season. I'm talking about both Daredevil Born Again and Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 2, which both come out this year in 2026. And most of Daredevil Born Again Season 2 is already out streaming, and it will finish before the Punisher special comes out. So, now with all that being said, we have the whole breakdown of all these different projects, their relationships to each other, to other previous MCU projects, and whether or not some have been given more seasons. So let's begin with the breakdown of all 8 shows, well, 9 seasons in all, beginning with Secret Invasion and ending with Ironheart. Let's begin. Alright, so first up we have Secret Invasion, and if you've been following the MCU for any amount of time and you've watched Secret Invasion, you know as a fact that it was one of the shows and one of the most well built shows for the first 4 or 5 episodes, depending on your own definition. But once we get to the finale, it just doesn't hit like the rest of the show, and it leaves a sour taste in our mouths as the ending is just not it. Is just not what we were hoping for in the build-up. You can even argue that it's just the first 3 or 4 episodes, and then after that, it just goes on a freaking cliff of a downfall hit after that. It's just insane. It could have been one of the best TV shows of the Marvel Cinematic Universe history, let alone just the Multiverse Saga. But you have to execute all 3 parts, beginning, middle, and especially the end. Most often than not, people will remember the ending if it's sour enough more than the beginning or middle. And so much of the fan base, including myself, feel like it's just not that good of a movie because it didn't execute at the end. All right, so we now go into one of the greatest, and I mean greatest, shows in the entirety of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is just like how Phase 4 went from not good to top tier in some cases in general, with the movies at the very least, not the shows, not always the shows. But we have the conclusion of Loki. We have Loki season 2! It was amazing and top tier, going bang, 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 all 6 episodes in a row, and Loki realizing his full and true potential, and has us clamoring and waiting and wondering how this character will continue in the conclusion of the Multiverse Saga, in Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, and how this version of Loki will interact with his long lost brother in Thor, who thinks he is dead. All right, and then we have, right after Loki season 2, we have the greatest and best season of What If. We have What If season 2. I'm not the biggest fan of season 1. I'll recognize that it is pretty good. What If season 2 is the best for me because I just find it to be the most entertaining. We will cover What If season 3, so I'll save my thoughts for that much later. But I very much enjoyed What If season 2. I found the episodes to be the best and most creative overall, and they were just a fun and wonderful blast. I watched this in the lead up to watching What If season 3. Right, next up we have, not as great as Loki and What If season 2s of each, but a still good and overall okay show. We have Echo, which released in early 2024, right after What If season 2 premiered in late 2023. And so we have Echo, 6 episodes released all at once, a good and wonderful blast. Wasn't as good as some of the best, but is definitely not the worst. Um, if you're looking for the essentials to watch of the MCU, Echo is probably not on that list very much. If you are looking and a big Daredevil fan, you might need to watch parts of Echo in order to understand how Kingpin is not blind if you watched Hawkeye. If you didn't watch Hawkeye, you don't need to watch Echo in order to watch Daredevil Born Again. Now, what is that to say? Echo is good. It's okay. It's not an essential MCU project to watch, but if you're a perfectionist and want to watch the entirety, it's a good and wonderful watch. It's not as bad as some of the worst, though. Now we have the show that premiered pretty much around Halloween season of 2024. We have Agatha All Along, or AAA, as some people might refer to it. This was a 9 episode show that was good. I won't say great because people will say great because of the ending and it was amazing and this and that. I do still remember most of the show. The beginning was okay. The middle, or well, most, or like pretty much roughly half of the show, where it was the adventure and along the witch's road, it was a fun ride, but it wasn't the best and it wasn't the worst, but it was just okay. There were good episodes, there were okay episodes. It wasn't the best flowing show of the entire MCU, of the Multiverse Saga at the very least, but the ending was good. However, it's been well over a year, close to a year and a half since the ending, and we have no clue when either of the main characters, being Agatha or Wiccan, are ever going to appear again. So it's a wonderful sequel to WandaVision, a wonderful introduction for Wiccan. However, we have no clue when either character of the main cast of the two characters will ever appear again. All right, so we're going on a good, nice streak. And now we enter the end of What If, the season 3 and finale of What If. I find season 3 to have a few good episodes. However, I do not see the need or the reasoning behind how the season 3 finale and like 2-part finale and ending has nearly an all female cast with all the different casts of characters that we've gone through. We just had all female cast and we kind of picked and chose what characters we wanted to use in the ending of this series. And so I do have a little bit of an issue with that because we used both men and women characters all throughout the show as both heroes and villains, but we use only women to end the show, which doesn't make too much sense to me. That's pretty much my only issue and the reason why I say What If Season 3 isn't as good as the first 2 seasons. Also, one or two of the episodes were just straight up weird and wonky, especially the Howard the Duck and what's her name, and the scientist or whatever from Thor that was in WandaVision. I forget her name right now, but that's my thoughts on What If Season 3. It's not the worst project in the MCU of the multiverse saga of the shows, but it is most certainly not one of the best. We are now in our final 3 shows, and all 3 came out last year in the wonderful year of 2025. And so we're going to begin these final 3, continuing in chronological order of release, being with Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 1. A very unique Spider-Man origin story, a very unique animation style, and also a wonderful way to have a Spider-Man plus other heroes in a Spider-Man project. We have Daredevil and the female white tiger that they're building in Born Again Season 2 right now. We have I forget what his name, Tombstone. We have Tombstone slowly being built up. We have Spider-Man finally being grounded and mostly in just New York City, fighting low-level street, and as he's beginning, he's working with Norman Osborn and Harry Osborn, has one of the runaways as his best friend. I am not the biggest fan of the animation style, but it is fine. It's okay. The show is good as a whole, and most certainly is for the broadest of audiences possible with the animation style and the difference that it has. It's a good show, not the greatest show. I do am very much anticipating season 2 when it comes out later this year. Now we have one of, if not the most hyped up Marvel Cinematic Universe Multiverse Saga show ever in all three of the three phases so far, as phase 6 is beginning and is currently going on right now. But this is probably the most anticipated and the most hyped. Did it live up to it? We're talking about Daredevil Born Again season 1. Season 2 is currently out. Season 1 started off with a bang. Foggy dies. Daredevil versus Bullseye going head to head. Bout. All this good stuff. The hallway fight scene, the cinematography was great. And then Matt stops being Daredevil for over a year and doesn't suit up again until around episode 7. Why is this good or bad? Well, I can go on a rant of probably enough for a whole video, but I'll keep it short and sweet. We focus very heavy on courts, which is great, and Matt being an attorney. However, the slow burn and constant teasing of both Wilson Fisk going back towards Kingpin as he wanted to stay away from it, and Matt Murdock slowly going into Daredevil is very much like a soap opera and a high school drama type of show, of a tease of a show where you're finally gonna get Daredevil. You're finally gonna get him. You're finally gonna get him. And you finally get him all the way near the end of the season. It kind of feels a bit cliche. We also have the introduction of White Tiger, which kind of fills the gap of Daredevil in between. We have the debut, or at least the continuation, of the Punishers, a gang that worships the Punisher. Kind of funny. Frank Castle Punisher appears and kind of talks Matt Murdock back into Daredevil. And so this was a good and okay season. It wasn't the best, wasn't the worst, probably not on the same tier as Daredevil, the Netflix show. Pretty much at the very minimum, just below, or right on par of the first season of the Netflix Daredevil show. Season 2 is much better. It's a wonderful blast, and I'll see you in the video where we'll be talking about that in the very, very near future. We have the end of Phase 5 in regards to the shows. We have Ironheart. I'll keep this short. I'll keep this sweet. I don't like this show at all. I don't like the fact that this is probably going to be one of the Disney Plus Marvel shows that is going to be getting a season 2. I don't like the fact that the main character was so willing and so easily ready to make a deal with the devil. I also don't like how she went from MIT, doesn't have money, doesn't go, I am smart, I am capable, I can make a product or a resource to where I can make money. No, she goes straight into crime in less than an episode. She also goes straight towards someone who she knows and has a bad feeling about, but she's too curious and wants to gain power quickly, so she goes to an obvious bad guy for help. I also feel like this show went a little too much into the diversity column. And it had a very good chance to be a good show. It may just be that I don't really like Ironheart as a character, if this is the same type of way Ironheart is portrayed in the comics. But also, you have pretty much more than 5 years worth of building up and teasing Mephisto, aka the devil of the Marvel Universe. And all it is to make a deal with a 22-year-old kid to bring her best friend back to life. I do not like this show. I've somehow gone on for about 2 minutes about this, but I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to go on a long rant about this. I don't like it. Maybe season 2 will redeem the show for me, but that's how I feel. Alright, so those are the 8 different shows with the 9 total seasons, going from Secret Invasion all the way until Ironheart, with nearly an exact 2 year from start to finish in point. We have pretty much great shows, all-time shows. We have most of the shows are at least good. There's maybe only 1 or 2 bad shows in the entirety, which is what you can hope for when they're releasing this many shows really a 3 year span technically, but it's 2 years in total, since it goes from June of 23 to basically June/July of 25, so it's pretty much exactly a full 2 year span. And so we have 9 different seasons, 8 shows. You can only hope that they get this many at least good. You can't hope that it goes bang, 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 banger after banger after banger, like they did in Phase 3, which is most of the phase was banger after banger, or at least the second half. You can only hope that they hit this many good shows in a row, and that they only have 1 or 2 misses in general, which is only because of the bad execution of writing in general as well. I will see you all tonight, actually, in a video that I recorded last week, and I'll also see y'all again tomorrow as we go over every Star Wars movie ranked, as Star Wars May the 4th is coming up, so I'll be doing a few Star Wars projects. See you in the next one. Goodbye, and God bless.